Hi Soul Space, it's Sheila Hill here. It's not Monday night and it's not 9 o'clock. As many of you are aware, I am doing my Rise Up 6-week mentorship program right now, and that the live calls for the group chats are on Monday evenings. But I still want to be able to bring you some video content. I still want to be able to connect with you. So we're going to do it this way for a little while. I'm going to be doing some videos and popping them into the group and opening up the comments for further discussion. And when I can, I will come on live. It just won't be Monday nights at 9 for the next, 5 weeks. Today's topic that I wanted to do a video on was to talk a little bit more about multidimensionality. And I wanted to pare it down to something that is a little bit more palatable and something that you can kind of keep track of yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, there's always a number of truths. So one truth is that we are all multidimensional, meaning that we are all, our soul's aspect is having experiences from a number of different perspectives in as many ways possible as it gathers, learns, and remembers information about our existence. But we're also multidimensional here in the now, in the human form that you present as right here in this timeline, in this reality. So it doesn't have to be as big. It doesn't have to be as big as, oh my God, Sheila, I don't really understand that stuff. It's too big for me. I don't really get it. I really want to explain this level of it to you because this is something that you can do, be aware of, and manage in your day-to-day life. So who you are right now in this timeline watching this video is actually dimensional traveling in every now moment, probably 1,000,000 times in a day. So let me unpack that and we'll explain it to you a little bit. We operate from the 3rd dimension, the 4th dimension, and the 5th dimension all the time, every day. Sometimes from minute to minute, we're in the 3rd dimension, and then we're in the 4th, and then we're in the 5th, and then we're back in the 3rd, and then we hover around in the 4th for a little while. And then we 5D it for a little bit, and then we slip back into the 3rd dimension. But the way that you experience it is that it's all actually happening during the same day, in the same lifetime, in the same you that is here now watching this video. So you're more than just knowing that you're multidimensional. You're actually experiencing it. You're doing it every minute of every day. And the more awareness that you can bring to your every now moment by being present and aware and conscious of your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, your emotions, and your internal frequency, the more you are going to be able to begin to anchor yourself into higher aspects and higher dimensions, getting closer and closer to that 5th dimensional reality that we're all headed towards. So let me break that down a little bit. What does that look like for you? What does that look like for me? How can that be that in the same grocery store visit, we can be in the 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, and 5th dimension, sliding back and forth and experiencing all of those dimensions at the same time? How can that be? Well, dimensions are a frequency of energy. They are not a place. So as we collectively, as inhabitants of Earth, shift into the 5th dimension, we aren't actually going anywhere. The frequencies of 5D are available here on Earth to us right now all the time. It's an option. You can tune into them anytime you wish with your consciousness and awareness. So what does 3rd dimension, what does it feel like? What would your experiences be if you were in the 3rd dimension? All the while being a part of this human experience at, say, the grocery store. So 3rd dimensional frequency beingness, being anchored into the 3D, is feeling victim consciousness, being in victim consciousness. Maybe having a bit of a pity party to yourself, which is fine. You have to honor all of your human emotions too. That's important. It may be running a story in your mind about lack, fear, scarcity. You may be judging another person. You may be harshly judging yourself. You may be watching the news. So anything at all that brings you back into a very condensed form in a lower vibrational expression of yourself is when you are in that 3D space. I know that there are some times when I will say to people, boy, I'm just feeling really human. I'm feeling really 3D lately. And that's fine, because in order to ascend, we need to shift our physical density, our body, into these higher frequencies as well. And that takes a lot more time. So there is no judgment in you being in a third dimensional bandwidth or frequency at any given point in time. The purpose of this video is just to show you the difference between 3D, 4D, and 5D so that you can sort of observe and begin to play with your experience in your everyday life, because you're already doing it. So, third dimension, that's what that one looks like. Fourth dimension isn't something that many people talk about, because fourth dimension, 4D, is actually etheric. So what is 4D? Well, 4D doesn't have a physicality to it. It's your thoughts. It's your belief systems, it's your ideas, it's your dreams, your dream state at night. It's your daydream during the day when you're driving and your mind just drifts off into something. It is your belief system. It's everything and anything that is possible. When you think about a two-headed unicorn that has a purple mane and a pink tail, when you think it into your fourth dimensional reality, it actually is created. It actually exists. But you don't hold that frequency or that belief long enough for it to converge itself into a third dimensional physicality, because that takes a long time to do. So 4D means that you are aware that you are a soul having a human experience. You are learning how to observe yourself. Observe your thoughts, your reactions, your beliefs, your emotions. You are flipping back and forth between your 3D reality. Some days you may be a little victim-y, some days you might be a little bit judgy, and then other days you're like, wow, you know what? This is just my life. This is the experience that I'm having, and I'm sure it's all in divine time going to align me to exactly what it's supposed to. Sometimes your thoughts and beliefs are very expansive and allowing and playful and curious, and other times they're not, and that's okay. But those are just there to show you that sometimes you're anchored consciously into the 3D, and sometimes your consciousness is in 4D. So in this whole ascension journey, in actuality, we spend a lot of time in the fourth dimension, because we're always thinking, believing, dreaming up something, imagining something, planning something, thinking about something, judging someone, judging ourselves, being grateful for someone, being grateful for ourselves, loving someone, loving ourselves. We're doing all of this in thought. And that is sort of where 4D is. Now 5D is much more like 3D. 5D is a consciousness, but it's also becoming a dense physical reality as well. We just aren't as tuned into it yet, and I don't believe that there's anybody on the earth right now that is fully anchored physically with their physical body in 5D, but it's where we're headed. So what does 5D look like? Well, 5D looks like unconditional love. It's unity consciousness, meaning that we are all one. That I would never do anything or say anything or think anything of you that I wouldn't do for myself. The unconditional love part, gratitude, service to others, there's another big distinction. So 3D is service to self, what's in it for me, and 5D is service to others, must serve, give, help, and cooperate and co-create with others for the best and highest good of all. That's sort of the 5D consciousness. Now I do want to talk a little bit about that one, because the 3D version can wear a 5D coat and not actually be 5D. So quite often we give to others, do for others, in the name of being loving, caring, compassionate, and grateful, which you think would be 5D, but sometimes, I'm going to say this gently, we are doing it because there's an ulterior motive. There is an inner childhood wound that says, if I do all of this for you, you're going to love me, and by loving me, you're going to make this hole that I feel in my heart feel so much better. So we really have to be mindful and aware, now that I'm bringing this to your attention in this video, that sometimes you are doing acts that look and appear and meet the quote-unquote criteria of being fifth dimensional being, when in actuality it's still anchored in an unhealed wound that exists in your third dimensional reality. So when it's service to others, it has to be clean. In the fifth dimensional frequency, your service to others must be clean. And when I say clean, I mean no ulterior motives, no expectations, no attachments to outcomes or what you'll receive. If the person doesn't even say thank you, which wouldn't happen in 5D, but if the person didn't even say thank you, it wouldn't matter to you in the least. You are literally giving of yourself, your energy, your frequency, your love, compassion, kindness to another just because you had extra to give, just because you recognize that everyone in actuality is an expression of you on a much higher level. Excuse me. And that you want to. So do we do that in real life? In this real life, 3D real life that we're doing now? Of course we do. Every time you hold the door for someone, every time you offer a compliment and don't expect anything in return, we do acts of kindness to others with non-attachment. We act out of unconditional love. We show compassion to others when they're maybe not showing up in their best light. We do all of the 5D behaviors sometimes. And when you are in that frequency, you are actually in a fifth dimensional consciousness. Now, another really neat thing that you might notice is time is becoming this really weird thing. So here's another way that you can measure. It's fast one day and slow another, and sometimes hours go by and you don't know where they went. And then there's other times where you're like, oh my God, seriously, it's only been 5 minutes since I last looked at my watch. And that is indicative again of what frequency you are in. So in the third dimension, time is very slow and very drawn out. Yeah, it's just slow and drawn out. When you shift into higher realms of the 4D and into 5D, when you are in that flow state where you are co-creating, where you are in alignment with your soul's path, where you are being, doing, and experiencing exactly what you're supposed to be, time goes by quickly. And that's called the flow state. When you are in flow state, which is a good thing, time goes by quite quickly. When you are meditating, when you are coloring, when you are doing whatever it is that you're passionate about, playing golf, exercising, like whatever it is, and you lose yourself into that activity to the point where time just seems to disappear, you are actually tapping into a fifth dimensional consciousness at that time. So think of the other side of perhaps the last time you had kind of a bad day. And I'm sure you were like, oh my God, is this day never going to freaking end? Because when you are not in your flow state, you are more than likely anchored in your consciousness and your physicality into the third dimension. And when you're in the third dimension, everything is very slow and out of true divine alignment for where you're supposed to be. Although on a whole other perspective of looking at it, you're always exactly where you're supposed to be because you're learning and growing even from the experiences when you're not in flow. So I just wanted to point out to you what it could look like for you if you really began to look at yourself as being multidimensional right here, right now, based on what you know, what you feel you don't know, what you're ready to understand, how expanded you think you are, how ascended you may be or not, that you are actually doing it. You're doing it now every day anyway. So start to bring some conscious awareness to it. Bring some intention to it. Just watch yourself, observe a little bit, and see where you can catch yourself either in the third dimensional bandwidth frequency or imagining and manifesting and creating from the fourth dimension, and how you can shift this into the fifth. Now, for now, I mostly only talk about sort of the goal plan being the fifth dimension. That's not the case. Mother Earth, Gaia, this planet, is actually a 12th dimensional, 12 different dimensions that are available to us by being here in experience on this planet. So once we get to 5, then we're going to be working towards 6 and 7 because we are here to ascend, and so on and so forth. But for now, just sort of watch yourself. Watch in every now moment, bring yourself into the present and go, I wonder what frequency I'm in right now. What am I experiencing right now? Third dimension, fourth dimension, or fifth dimension. So I hope that this kind of tweaks a little bit of thought and some explorative curiosity within you. And I will be coming on with new videos and other offerings for you as they come into my awareness to do so. But I'm always open to taking requests. So if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about or share with you, then please post in the comments. Enjoy this video. Have a lovely weekend. Love to you all. Bye-bye.